So hey guys, welcome to this new video. For the last about 1.5 months, I've been reading a book that I was trying to get my hands on for quite a while. It's called this Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. So I've been reading about this book on a lot of websites. It has been recommended by a lot of YouTubers. So I've been doing a lot of sales and marketing in our agency, digital marketing agency. So I thought that I'm always a believer that if you need to improve on something, you have to have an active habit on daily basis on what are the steps that you taking in order to get to there. For example, I need to improve my sales skills, right? So I can always tell that I need to improve, I need to focus on it, etc. But what are the steps that I'm taking, right? So I thought that hey, one step could be to have inspiration from people who have already done it, etc. So I thought that I should give this book a chance so that I can have a conversation with the author, right? That's how I approach books. I don't take in everything that they say, but I believe I put it as kind of a conversation that I'm having with the author of the book every day. Maybe I'll only read for about 15 to 20 minutes every day, and I'm a slow reader too. I consume very slowly so that I make sure that I understand everything. So getting to the topic of the video, it's about that I wanted to make a summary of the book, uh, and hence I picked out 5 points that I thought that was really impressive, that pushed me to some thoughts, etc. So these are not the chapters or anything. There are a lot of other things that are not in this video that are explained in the video. For example, it talks about hiring sales superstars. It talks about follow-ups, etc. Those sort of things I didn't put it here because I just wanted it to be short as possible and um make it to the point. And so let me start with, so the first thing that I got from this book that was really insightful is that he talks about a situation in which he goes to if somebody goes to a conference in which there are about 100 people. The numbers are not accurate, I'm not quoting him, but if for example, if there are 100 people in the room, and if you ask the entire group to raise hands, um, if anyone wants to buy a furniture right now, so the probability is that 3 out of those 100 people might raise their hands. Those are the 3%. That is the 3% rule. That is like on an average, 3% of the people are ready to buy something that you're selling. Like it depends upon industry to industry, products to products, but that's the thumb rule that you can have. And as you can see in the pyramid, that this is a pyramid that he illustrates inside the book. 3% are ready to buy, 6 to 7 are open to it, 30% are not thinking about it, 30% don't think they are interested, 30% know that they are not interested. So as a salesman or someone who is pitching a lot, you need to understand that 3% is an easy sell, but you can prove yourselves to be a really good salesman if you can convince at least up to these many people, right? The initial 40%, right? If we can convert people out of um outside the 3%, then you're doing something really good, right? So that's something that I learned from the book. And the second really interesting thing, he talks about making presentations, right? Making presentations are very critical when it comes to sales, right? You need to impress your clients, you need to visually represent all these things, you need to communicate that you are an expert, etc. So one example that he takes us with is that while he was working with a client whose target audience was lawyers, in his presentation he mentioned this graph. He created this graph in which he says that from 1970 to 1980, the growth of the number of lawyers in US was about, as you can see, 200k. From 1980 to 1990 it was almost the same, 200k. But from 1990 to 1992, in 2 years gap, that grew into just 2 years gap, it grew from 720 to 973. That's almost like the same amount of growth that the market saw in the last 20 years, right? So, and he explains to them that the reason could be that there was a show, I forgot the name of the show, and it's because of that show law as a profession became popular and people wanted to become lawyers. That's the reason behind the jump. And um, since the client's target audience are lawyers, it means that the demand has been is growing in the market, and we need to take action as soon as possible to capture that demand, right? So it's a wow factor, right? And basically what he says that when you're presenting something, use the market data first. Initially communicate using the market data instead of the product data. That will make people go wow. Wow. For example, the client will be thinking that, okay, this insight is really new, and that gives the presenter or the guy who is pitching a lot more credibility, right? It communicates that the guy who's selling knows the market that the client is in, right? So that's something that beautiful that I got from the book. And the third one is also really interesting. It's a concept of buyer education, and he talks about two examples of two furniture stores. One use sales tactics, like for example, someone comes into the store and the salesman used a lot of tactics to sell the furniture, a short-term game, right? But the second store has a strategy in place, and that strategy is a buyer education. So whenever some customer visits that store, and even if they are not in the mood to buy stuff, what happens is that the salesmen in that store are trained to educate the customer about their brand and their store, right? For example, when someone comes in, the salesman starts talking about their store. He asks the customer that, hey, this your first visit to the store? Let me tell you about the feature of the store, what all things that they do to improve customer experience, etc. And he goes on talking about a lot of stuff, not about the product, not about selling stuff, but about the store, the things that they have created for the customer, etc. So what happens is that what he tells is that because of this strategy, this buyer education strategy, the next time that customer thinks about buying this furniture, that store will be on top of his mind, right? And that also worked out. The second store which used this strategy eventually grew to multiple stores, and the first store, which was just driven behind tactics, was still a single store outlet. And the fourth one was really cool also. It was like it's the concept is about standing out from the crowd, right? But you often hear about this, but this example that he did with one of his clients was that when this might not be very relevant in this time period, but back then when business conferences and business events were really popular, offline events were popular. When he was consulting a client, he told them that to create an Hawaiian theme, a beach kind of theme for a business stall, right? So they did it, and uh, eventually everyone was excited about that. The talk of the business event was that who's that guy, or who's that organization that came up with the Hawaiian theme, and that stall got the most amount of footfalls in that entire event, right? So he talks about standing out from the crowd when you're trying to sell something, right? Fifth one also is really important. It's about if you are running a B2B organization, you definitely need this. It's about having a list, a solid list, written list in a paper or in a Google Doc or whatever, about the 100 ideal clients that you want to reach to, or you want to convert as a customer in the coming years, right? So if you are a digital marketing agency like ours, you need to identify your ideal customer persona. That could be filtered by the number of employees an organization has, maybe 100 to 500 number of employees, or the amount of funding that startup has got, maybe between 1 million to 10 million, or maybe the nature of the product that they are building. Maybe is it a digital product, or is it a scalable product, is it a very unique product. So with all these things, you need to first initially create an buyer persona, and go out there. And also maybe there might be geographical restraints. You might be just focusing on Indian clients, or maybe from a particular state, or from north or south, or maybe if you are talking about only US clients. So anyways, you just go out there and uh, write down those dream 100 clients, right? That shouldn't be too small, and also it shouldn't be too large. Like you shouldn't be dreaming about Apple as a client right now, maybe at this stage, but something to aspire to work towards, and write it down. And in the book, he says to send them gifts to the office, and after sending the gift, make them a call and tell that you are the person who sent the gift, and then follow up, stuff like that. That could be outdated, a bit outdated, but right now maybe you can connect with them on LinkedIn, maybe give them a white paper, or some information about their products, some things, that some gaps that you're finding in their products or in their websites, etc., and talk about how you can fix it, and how you have already fixed it with some case studies, right? So you can use a lot of methods to get out to reach out to these decision makers of these 100 organizations that you're targeting, right? It's up to you how about how you try to get to them, but you need that list, right? So these 5 points, I think, was really important, really cool for me as a marketer and a salesman, that I didn't know. There are a lot of other stuff, a lot of stuff, I don't believe that you can get a gist of a book via a video like this. So that's why I'm saying that if you want to buy this book, I've given the link to it in the description, so you can just check it out and buy it from Amazon. And also, as usual, so hit the subscribe button, and drop your comments if you have any thoughts on regarding this video. And see you on the next video. Bye.